Hi there, welcome back. The book I'm going to read to you now is called Patterns from Nature, The Art of Gustav Klimt. Okay, very famous artist as well. And I actually ordered this one on Amazon, I think it was. I can't find it in bookstores around here. And I think it was published somewhere in Asia. It's an interesting book. Okay, so the copyright page. And the cat says, "Why does Gustav keep going for walks? And why does he always wear that cloak?" And Gustav says, "The colors and shapes of nature are my inspiration. I gather them up and take them home." All right, Patterns from Nature, The Art of Klimt. Day after day, my master Gustav sat at his drawing board thinking. He wanted to paint a new picture, but didn't know what to paint. On the white sheet in front of him, there were only a few lines and shapes. One day he said, "I'm sure I'll think of something if I go for a walk." He set off down the garden path, and I, of course, followed him. So if you were in my class right now, I would ask you to think about what's following him. Okay. As we walked through the forest, the only sound was of our feet rustling the leaves on the ground. "If only I could take home all the trees and leaves," said Gustav, and he looked around in wonder. Suddenly he exclaimed, "Aha! I caught it!" He seemed to have trapped something inside his shirt. Wrapping his arms around his body, he dashed back to his studio. So here we can see who's with him. Okay. Once there, Gustav stood in front of a large sheet of white paper and spread his arms wide. As he did so, a golden tree with curling branches appeared on the paper. Then a big black bird landed on one of the branches. Gustav smiled, pleased with himself. "So it works," he said. "This is what I have to do." And this painting here is called Tree of Life. One of his very, very famous paintings. Okay. One day I noticed Gustav was very busy. He was making a cloak out of thin gold foil. Soon it was finished. I looked at him as if to say, "That's quite splendid, but what on earth is it for?" Gustav just looked back at me and beamed a big, broad smile. Next morning at first light, wearing his special cloak, Gustav walked out into the garden. He stopped in front of the sunflowers and spread his arms wide. All at once, flowers from all over the garden flew towards him and vanished inside his cloak. Sorry, guys, I'm having some allergies here in Austin. He went back into the studio and stood in front of one of his unfinished paintings. As he opened his cloak wide, hundreds of colorful flower petals and tiny pieces of golden sunlight flew out and scattered across the studio. Gustav gathered up the petals and flecks of gold and began placing them all over the painting. Soon he had created an entirely new kind of artwork. It was not only beautiful to look at, but also expressed his love of nature. Oh, and this one is called The Kiss. Very famous. Gustav was delighted. He laughed and said to himself, "What should I paint next?" The next time we went out, Gustav wore his cloak again, but also took a large sack. Soon I realized we were heading for the birch forest. I think it's cool that his cat goes with him. No leash either. We stood silently in the middle of the forest. All at once, Gustav yelled, "I caught it!" And he thrust something into his sack. It looked like a bright red birch leaf. He did this again and again, and soon the sack was full. round and bulging like the moon. Then we headed home. And this one is called Birch Forest. This time I knew what to expect. As Gustav slowly opened up the sack, the birch leaves with their bright fall colors flew onto the drawing of a beautiful girl. Then Gustav added golden circles and jewel-like flower petals. And this one is called Hope 2. Time after time, Gustav went out into the forest to gather up all the colors of nature. He would say, "Come and see this apple tree covered with fruit. The apples look so ripe and tasty." Now, in the studio, Gustav sprinkles his magic everywhere, on paper, on canvas, even on the walls. Golden trees grow strong and tall, flowers bloom, and birds call. And this one is called Expectation. The people in the paintings are wrapped in the beauty of nature. My master really is a very special artist. And this one here is called The Embrace. Okay, and then at the back of the book, they give you a timeline of his life. So it looks like he was born in 1862 and he died in 1918 of the flu. Which reminds me, kids, it is time to wash your hands. Remember to sing the alphabet song while you're washing, so you make sure and get lots of soap and get rid of all those germs. We are trying to stay well right now. All right, so the cat says, "I wonder what he has brought home this time." And Gustav says, "I will fill my paintings with the beauty of nature." So, wash your hands, don't forget. Now, as you can see, I'm at home too. Yep, and I have a big stack of books here. I wonder if I can show them to you. Let's see. Oh, there's the guest bed. My room's a little messy. And there's the stack of books. Yep, I'm going to read them all to you. So I hope you like being read to. Don't worry, there's no quizzes or anything like that. All right, so once again, wash your hands, stay well, play outside, read books. Okay, love you guys, miss you, bye.